Christine Lampard will be back on the famous green sofa to share her memories of working alongside Adrian Charles. Plus, we've got an incredible update on one of her very first one-show stories.
You couldn't make that up, could you? I think it's a fire alarm.
You've got some form of fire alarm going on.
It's fine, we'll continue.
But we continue.
And Christy's not the only former host returning to the show, because Matt will be here too to relive some of his favourite moments, from dancing at Buckingham Palace to riding across the UK on the famous yellow rickshaw. I'm doing my best to keep a straight face.
Yeah, we'll be good. Over the years, the Rickshaw Challenge has helped raise millions for BBC Children in Need, and a little later it stopped. We're going to be catching up with some of the young riders who took part to find out.
What a night we have in store, and the women's 800-metre final finishes off the action on day 5, and I'm delighted to say that Greg Rutherford and Jessica Ennis-Hill are back for more, and for what promises to be a truly world-class race, because, you know, with Audrey and Femke and Keely, they would grace an Olympic final, obviously. This is world-class. We're not overstating it.
No, it really is world-class, and we're in for such a treat. You know, Keely's the home favourite. She's a superstar of this event, but we've got Audrey Vero, who has run the 3rd fastest time in history, and then throw in Femke, who's new to the event, but very much tearing up the track every time she steps into this arena. So
the family of Brian Thompson issued this statement. Today's guilty plea marks an important step towards justice for Brian and for our family. While nothing will ease the pain of losing him, we are grateful for the federal justice system has held the person responsible for this heinous act accountable. This is BBC News. Now, a few minutes ago at the top of the show, you might have heard an alarm system sound going off here in the studio. That's because in the past half hour, the UK government sent out a severe alert to mobile phones right across the country, warning of a very high risk of wildfires nationally and urging people not to start any activity that could start a fire, including using disposable barbecues. It comes as extreme weather is continuing to cause death, destruction and displacement around the world, from China to Japan to the forests of Europe to the Midlands here in the UK. In eastern Japan,
will be sentenced on December the 18th. He faces the prospect of life in prison.
The defendant committed this murder.
James Matthews reporting. Now, you may have heard my phone go off in the studio a moment ago. Perhaps yours went off as well. An alert from the government. This is what it said. There is a very high risk of wildfires nationally. Residents, landowners and visitors should not undertake any activity that could start a fire, including disposable barbecues, fire pits, garden incinerators or fireworks. Even a small flame can rapidly develop into a major wildfire, placing lives, homes, businesses and emergency responders at risk. It goes on to say, follow updates, and if you see any fire, immediately call 999. Well, it comes as the Prime Minister warns the public not to light open fires of any kind, describing the UK as a tinderbox.
Well, let's get the latest from Ben Chapman in Stourbridge. And Ben, many people watching us right now and millions of others have begun to receive an emergency alert on their phones, haven't they? Can you tell us what that's all about?
Yes, the government has announced that everyone is going to get one of these emergency alerts on their phones on a rolling basis from 7 o'clock. All our phones around here have started going off in turn over the course of the last few minutes, and if you're watching at home, you might have had one of these as well. We've certainly seen the devastating consequences of wildfires here over the last 24 hours or so, and this alert urges people to not light anything that could start a fire. Now, that includes barbecues, campfires, fireworks, and people are being urged to report fires, however small, by calling 999. The alert says even a small flame can rapidly develop into a major wildfire, and that may well be what happened here. Fire chiefs saying here that they don't know what started this fire.
So crews in the West Midlands are continuing to tackle a number of fires, although officials said the situation had vastly improved since yesterday. 6 firefighters were taken to hospital with smoke inhalation and heat exhaustion, whilst 54 people were injured yesterday at the sites of 8 different fires. 19 of them had to be treated in hospital. Andy Burnham, visiting the worst hit area, said the UK had become a tinderbox. Francis Reid reports. Francis Reid there. And as you've probably just heard, the UK government issued an emergency service alert on all mobile phones a couple of minutes ago, warning of the very high risk of wildfires across the country.